Hello, everybody. I'm back to give my charge to Nigeria and Nigerians. And today I'm going to be talking to our federal ministers, two ministers that are very famous in Nigeria that I think are really doing a good job. Some people don't believe in them, especially a lot of people criticize Amaechi and think he's corrupt, and I don't care about that, but I say Amaechi and Fashola are some of the most capable ministers that we have, and they have been doing a good job. But again, whatever they have been doing, for me, is not good enough because it is inferior to the things that are supposed to be happening. When I look at Europe here, and where the country that I live in, Minister of Transport and Minister of Infrastructure or Minister for Housing, what they do and the way they carry out the job is totally different. For example, what our Nigerian ministers are doing is mainly to give out contracts. All right, so you see Fashola and Amaechi talking about the contracts they have given to for the rails to be built and for the housing to be built, and they are, talking about that as achievements. But each time I see them, I get irritated and I get so angry because I'm Nigerian and I know the way these things are supposed to be done. For example, in this country, you don't see railways or railroads, railways or being built by Chinese. For us to be building railways and putting rail tracks and bringing engineers, Chinese, to come and do it, it's a shame. And then we're thinking, this is the achievement of our government. We were able to build and let the coaches go from Lagos to Ibadan. Big deal, big deal. These are things that are supposed to be going on every day by local engineers. In these countries, nobody even hears about them when they are being done. Nobody even announces them to anybody because it's just natural. The engineers here, the local engineers are doing it. We don't even know they're engineers. Work is just going on. Nobody even gets to hear about them. Or these housing constructions, or these things that are going on, this bridge construction and all that. That is so elementary that we have to give out contracts to some foreigners to come and do things for us. Why do we have schools? Wait, for me, if these things are not being done, even students are responsible to doing those kind of things here. The projects, the practicals that people get, whatever they call them, attachments or whatever, students that go on practical, they go and build bridges, they build roads, they construct houses, and we have to give projects and go and give, sign contracts with some foreigners, expatriates. Why do we have schools? So the reason I'm doing this whole thing, this challenge is, ministers, you don't even think you have any achievement, and not just the Amaechi and Fashola. I think you people, you need to challenge and task yourself that every project that is going to be given out in Nigeria is going to be executed by Nigerian companies and by Nigerian engineers, by Nigerian experts. Let's begin to do some things with Nigerians, by Nigerians. Then we could begin to say we have done something. Even the coaches, why don't you, as a minister of transportation, why don't you put the challenge upon yourself that we are going to build our own railways? We are going to build our own coaches. We are going to build the tracks ourselves. We are going to produce everything on ground. We are going to have schools that are going to be graduating people who will be building railways. We are going to be building schools that will be graduating people who build bridges. These are the kind of things we should be talking about. We are going to be having our own people that will be constructing all the engineering facilities, all the building facilities, all the mechanisms, all the mechanical constructions that are supposed to be done in the country. All of them will be done by our own people. That is what ministers are supposed to be doing. But if you are just giving contracts and assessing, giving money, signing contracts, it is like we are just in the Stone Age. We are so backward. We should know the whole idea should be the ability of what we are able to do for ourselves. It should be about what we are able to do for ourselves, not about giving contracts out. Nigerian engineers right now are just maintenance managers. The only employment they get is just to maintain something. Not a whole lot of Nigerian engineers are inventors and designers. So this is what, and they were taught these things in school. So why were they taught these things in school if in real life we need to still go and bring in Germans and Chinese and English Americans? Why do we go to school then? Let's just assume that we don't have schools. Because we don't have people who have look at all our masterpieces. We have the National Stadium. Who built it? Foreigners. We have the National Theatre. Who built it? Foreigners. We have the bridges. All the masterpieces we have, they are being built by foreigners. Why foreigners? Go to any country in Europe. All these people are being done by their own people. They don't even know you have to. They are not even aware of it, that you have to go and bring some specialists to come and build something for you. So are we a 21st century country, or we are just a forgotten, lost country somewhere? All our masterpieces are built by foreigners. It's a shame. It's a disgrace. You cannot see some masterpieces and say that these are Nigerian engineers who constructed this. Before it was Julius Berger that was carrying all our money. Now it's China. Why do we raise? The whole challenge, my challenge to Minister Amaechi and Fashola is, task yourself to raise up engineers, institutes, instead of feeding China and Germany. The minister, another minister that is supposed to be here, the Minister of Technology or the Minister of Science and Technology. What minister are you if the whole contracts in your country are being given to foreigners? So our ministers and our government are busy boasting about the roads they have constructed. I don't care about the roads you constructed. Who constructed it? The rails they have laid, the airports they have built, the contracts they have given out for this and that. Why not raise engineers to build them? No country has ever developed significantly from depending on external forces or external contribution. The Chinese and Lebanese that are getting all these contracts only do so here in Nigeria. Now, they go to other countries, but we are supposed to be the giant of Africa. The developing countries, yes, they have the same problem because they don't have people that are well trained, but Nigeria is supposed to be going beyond that by now. Because these people make so much profit and they repatriate the profit back to their countries. The Chinese and Lebanese will come, take the big projects, and they will now go as far as to import their own workers, the laborers, import artisans, import technicians to carry out the work here in Nigeria. And our own young men will fold their arms and be looking, I'm unemployed. They'll be looking for jobs, writing applications. The dams that we are building, the roads and the structures need to be built by our own engineering firms. Engineering companies in Nigeria are supposed to be given priority. They are supposed to be developed. In fact, even if we are giving all these contracts out, we should give them a condition to work with local engineering companies, and to teach local engineers how to build these things, how to build railways, how to build airports, how to build bridges. We should give them condition that the next one will be done by Nigerians. Engineering is what it takes for a nation to go from third world country to a second world country and to be a first world country. If we don't develop our own engineering industry, we will never become developed. Let's see the top countries in producing engineers. I want to give you an example because I don't think we are producing enough engineers in the world. But all the developed countries are top engineering producing countries. Like let's take for example in Russia, where I live, and this part of the world, Russia Federation produces 454,000, like 500,000, 500,000 engineers in 1 year. That is why they're able to build a huge country, and they are exporting engineers to other countries. 500,000 engineers in a year. That 500,000 is almost the totality of all graduates in Nigeria as a whole. So what are we doing? Only engineers. 500,000 engineers in a year. The whole of the number of engineers in our country altogether is not even up to this. It's not even up to 10% of this. United States produces 250,000 engineers every year. 250,000 engineers every year almost. Iran that is under boycott and that is, that is being embargoed by other countries, then realize that one of the few ways for them to come out of their embargo and under development and discrimination by the developed world is to develop their own engineering and develop their own people and build their own country. So they are number 3 country right now in producing engineers. They produce almost the same number of engineers as America. Almost, 1/4 people in a year. Million engineers in a year. Then we have Japan, almost 200,000 engineers in a year. South Korea, the same thing, almost 200,000 engineers in a year. Indonesia, almost 200,000 engineers in a year. Ukraine, where I live, almost 150,000 engineers in a year. Mexico, 100,000 engineers in a year. France, the same thing, 100,000 engineers in a year. Vietnam is growing, one of the fastest growing economy now, is producing 100,000 engineers in a year. China, I don't even want to talk about China. China is bad news. Producing engineers. If we want to, if we want to be competitive in the world, these are the things that our ministers should focus on and should be talking about. For the love of God, church and nation, peace. Sunday Adelaja here. If you believe in nation building principles, please like this video, share it with your friends, and let's change our nations together.